So this is going to be a closer look at some of the prophecies in the book of Isaiah, as well as Zephaniah, Jeremiah, Daniel, and Ezekiel, but we're going to start in Psalm 2. It says, "Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us." Now, that's quoted in Acts 4:26 as Christ. It says, "The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ." So, that's what anointed means. That's what Christ means. And in verse 4 it says, "He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son." So the Son is the King, even back in Psalm 2. Kiss him. Psalm 9:17 says, "The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God." So I did a video on Isaiah 13, and I was asked to do a video on Isaiah 14, and it's connected to Isaiah 13 by the word "for," which means because. It says, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob." Now, I've been saying this in all my videos. That God is going to regather those people in Israel. A lot of people think that that happened in 1948. It didn't. But it is going to happen after the rapture, when Christ comes on the clouds. Like, that's what he's going to be doing. He's going to be fighting those nations in Egypt, and we're going to gather the children of Israel and bring them back into their land. It says, "And will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land," basically. It said, well, it tells us who that is. It says, "And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. Fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased." Now, this did not happen when they left Babylon. They did not rule over their captors. They did not take captive their oppressors. That did not happen. That is something that's going to happen at the end of the world. In verse 5, after it says, "The king of Babylon, the oppressor, has ceased, the golden city ceased." So, Mystery Babylon is being destroyed, and the ruler of it. "The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing." Well, that reminds me of, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And it says in verse 8, "Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no fellers come up against us." So they're praising Antichrist. They're saying, "Oh man, Lucifer, you're just the greatest guy ever. Like, ever since you've been laid down, ever since you got into leadership, there's been no wars or anything. This is true peace." That's what they're saying. And it says in verse 9, "Hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?" Who are they saying that to? Lucifer. Because they're like, you're like us now? Like, the devil is like a human being now? But more, what they're probably saying is, wow, you were such like a high like celebrity like ruler, like you were like, are you really just like us? Like this man was so magnificent in the earth, now he's brought down to the ground as though he's nothing. And that's what it says. It says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy viols, those are musical instruments. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. So he's down in hell. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? Now, this is where we believe, well, his name was Lucifer before he became Satan. No, I think he's Satan, and he's going to become Lucifer when he becomes the Antichrist, when he becomes a man. I've heard it said that Lucifer is not the devil. I think that's ridiculous. That's probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard, honestly. Like, I don't mean any offense really to those who believe that, but that has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Because there's nobody else in time that wants to be like God, that has this much pride in their heart, that can match up with the devil. There's no way. Like, I mean, I'm not even going to expound on it any further. Evidence of the earth. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, for he knoweth that he hath but a short time. That's the beginning of the great tribulation, which is not God's, has fallen from heaven. How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. Now the heights of the clouds, now if we can travel through space, and we're sending stuff way deep into space, why is God, through the prophet Isaiah, stating that Lucifer's goal, Satanasa, look that up, that's the feminine form of the word Satan, but it says, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I mean, airplanes go to a certain height above the clouds. So what does that really mean? Also, Jesus physically ascended. He didn't physically ascend up to heaven for 14 billion light years, nor did he ascend above the clouds just to make a fancy appearance and then he just teleported to heaven. He physically rose above everything, because conventional science is a liar. Anyway, I will be like the Most High, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? Now, when the Bible talks about the dragon, or the devil, the serpent, the snake, the word Lucifer is used in the entire Bible, is Isaiah 14:12. And it is Satan in the form of a man. This is Antichrist. Look at America. America is being absolutely eaten away by a parasite from the inside. Isaiah 7, verse 17 says, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. So every one of these New World Order, Illuminati, Islamic sympathizing, Islamic peddling, like these Masons, whatever you want to call them, this brotherhood of satanic trash that rules this world, they're lying in glory, everyone in his own house. So they've each got their own nation, and they're ruling their nation, and they're just lying, and they're just being devil-worshipping scumbags. It says in verse 19, but thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them. This is God talking. He tells us that. Saith the Lord of hosts. and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern, and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts. The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Now I have a video that I believe it's in the Turkey, the focal point of prophecy. Again, sorry, it's before I had this microphone that I'm using now. But I go over all the times that the word Assyrian is used in reference to Antichrist. It's in Micah as well, the prophet Micah, Micah 5. People know Micah 5 too. But thou Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little, they know that verse, but they don't know what follows. It's talking about the Assyrian, this man, talking about Jesus, this man shall be the peace when the Assyrian shall come into our land. Isaiah 28 says, when the overflowing scourge shall pass through. Isaiah 59 talks about when the flood shall overtake us, or something to that tune. I'm not quoting that properly out of Isaiah 59. But it's the same concept. Antichrist coming into Jerusalem. Jesus talks about it in the Olivet Discourse also. And the land of Assyria covers Turkey, because this man is going to be a Turkish leader. He's going to come from the north. And he's going to come from Grecia, which is Turkey. It says, Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and hath purposed, and who shall disannul it? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back? In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden. Now it's not saying that has already happened. This has not already happened. But I do believe that this vision was given to Isaiah at that time. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. That's a serious statement. This, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. Hold on. Yes, right here. This has not happened yet. That has never happened. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. They have not led or been the captors of those who once held them captive. That's never happened. And I believe it's in Joel, as well as Zechariah, Zephaniah, and other prophets, where it says that on the day of the Lord, the children of Israel will rule. They will stretch out their hand upon Edom and Ethiopia and the Sabaeans, and they will rule over them. That's what it says. It says, Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina. That's Palestine. That's Palestina, Palestina. The Palestinians. Whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. So that's kind of a strange statement. Maybe the serpent, out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice. I believe that's an alligator or a crocodile, like that kind of animal. And his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. Now, I mean, that could be like a false prophet. That could be something being produced from the death of Lucifer. Although I don't believe that, because the book of Revelation says that these shall be cast alive into the pit. So when it talks about Lucifer being cast into hell up here, it's Jesus himself doing that. So there's not going to be any events happening after that. So I'm not entirely sure what verse 29 is talking about. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. It says in verse 30, And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety, and I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city. Thou whole pound then answer the messengers of the nation, that the Lord hath founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it. Great stuff. Now, I want to point out, he's talking about Palestina, the Assyria. These are all enemy nations to Israel, and they're enemy nations to God. And I want to show a few verses that talk about the nations that Christ is going to come into to destroy when he returns in the clouds. This is Isaiah 15. It says the burden of Moab. Moab is going to be destroyed. Isaiah 15. Isaiah 17. The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap. That has not yet happened entirely. Damascus has been trashed right now by ISIS, but it has not been, like, it could be rebuilt. It is not a ruinous heap yet. It says, the fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord of hosts. And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thin, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean. I will save Isaiah 17 for another video. I just wanted to point out that it was Damascus. If I go down here, I'll just be getting into a bunch of other stuff. So, Isaiah 19, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. I mean, you know when that's going to happen. And shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And then it says down here, kingdom against kingdom, brother against brother. Like, that's another sign of the end times. But I just want to point out, he's going into Egypt. Egypt is an Islamic nation. Syria is an Islamic nation. So what do we have here? Where are we? Okay, well, right here is Damascus. Over here's Babylon. Down here's Jerusalem. Right there's Syria. I think I have a modern map though. Yes, right here. So Jesus is going to be in this land, trashing this land. This is Syria. This is Damascus. He's going to be down in Egypt. He's going to come through Egypt. He's going to go over. He's going to, the tongue of the Egyptian sea, this is going to be licked right up. This is going to dissolve. There's not even going to be any water here anymore. He's going to pass over this. He's going to trash. He's going to trash all the way from down here to Hazor. We'll get there in a second. That's in Isaiah 21. I don't really want to get into that. I don't want to make this video 3 hours long, but Nineveh. Assyria. Where's Ethiopia? Ethiopia's down here. He's gonna be right in here too. He's gonna go right, he's just gonna go right down into here, swing into here, woo, boom, 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 trash it, come up through here, come up through Ammon, and Moab and Ammon, Edom, Mount Seir, go up here, trash them, trash Turkey a little bit, come down here into Tyre and Zidon on the coast of Lebanon. Tyre's right here. Tyre and Sidon, and then he's going to sit in the valley of Jehoshaphat, the valley of Megiddo, north of Jerusalem, and the Bible says, there will I plead with all flesh. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land, and have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for oil. Not alcohol, wine. That's not alcoholic wine, that is oil, that's natural gas, that they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon? Tyre and Zidon, north of Israel on the western coast. Joel. And all the coasts of Palestine. The coast of Palestine down here is right here. The west, the strip right here, that's the coast of Palestine. Right there. That's Palestina. Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. So they're right here, and it's like they're peddling these slaves out of Jerusalem up here into Turkey, which these are the Grecians right here. This is Grecia. Grecia was this land down into here. Alexander the Great was king of Egypt, Pharaoh, almost down to Ethiopia. Over here, he had most of Arabia. Over into Persia, it was a massive empire. Came a little horn. That's the Antichrist. And guess what? Istanbul. Istanbul means little horn. Istanbul is where the Western Grecian, Roman nations, the Western nations, Europe and the United States. It's where the Western nations meet the East. Istanbul, right there. Turkey is the centerpiece. They are the uniter between the West and the East. They're a little bit of both. And Istanbul means little horn. The little horn Antichrist is going to come out of this. Turkey's already trying to take Syria. Iran's trying to take Iraq. You're probably going to see Turkey and Iran going at it. You're going to see Grecia, just like Alexander the Great, going against Darius in Medo-Persia, Iran, which this is Medo-Persia. Media was here, and Persia was here. And the king of the north coming against the king of the south. God of Israel unto me, take the wine cup of this fury at my hand, and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad because of the sword that I will send among them. Then took I the cup at the Lord's hand, and made all the nations to drink unto whom the Lord had sent me. This is as though it's Jesus talking. To wit, Jerusalem, and the cities of Judah, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation, an an astonishment, and hissing, and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people. Sounds like Isaiah 19 to me. And all the mingled people. That's weird. What's that mean? Mingled people. Sounds to me like Arab. Ereb means mixed. So if you go to Daniel chapter 2, where it says it will be a mixed kingdom, he's literally saying it'll be an Ereb kingdom. Ereb means mixed. That's where the Arabs get that moniker. And all the mingled people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, and the Ashkelon, and Asa, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, and Moab, and the children of Ammon. So you've got Jordan and Arabia right here, and you've got all those lands. This is this right here. It's all these guys. And all the kings of Tyrus. So there's Lebanon. And all the kings of Zidon, Lebanon. And the kings of the isles which are beyond the sea. So there you've got like America and Australia and all the other stuff. All the other nations that fits. Dedan and Tema. That's in Arabia. We have Isaiah 21. Dedan, Tema, Kedar, Duma, Hazor, Seir, and Bozrah. This is Edom right here. Edom was right here. It's southern Jordan and northern Arabia. It was right there. Ammon and Moab are where modern day Jordan are. Kingdom of Aram, Damascus, that's Syria. That's modern day Syria. And all the kings of Arabia. and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert. The kings of Elam, that's Iran. And all the kings of the Medes, that's Iran. It's the same thing. These two are the same thing, before the comma and after the comma, and this is the same thing right here. And all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Sheshach shall drink after them. That's the king of Turkey. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Drink ye, and be drunken, and spew, and fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I will send among you. And it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thine hand to drink, then shalt thou say unto them, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Ye shall certainly drink. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which is called by my name. And should ye be utterly unpunished? So what is he saying here? He's saying, I'm bringing evil on Jerusalem. And are you just gonna go like unpunished, as though you've done nothing wrong? Ye shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitation. He shall mightily roar upon its habitation. He shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for the Lord hath a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even to the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be dung upon the ground. He goes through all these nations that he's going to trash. Edom, Moab, Egypt, all of them are Islamic nations. Daniel 2. Thou sawest till the stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then it was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together. That's the entire land mass over there. That's Medo-Persia. That's the silver. That's the gold of Babylon, which that doesn't include Assyria in Daniel 2, but it does include Rome and Greece, which covered literally all this land. It was all that land surrounding Jerusalem. So that last kingdom is going to rule all of that land. Jeremiah 49, talking about the destruction of Ammon, destruction of Jordan, the destruction of Edom, Arabia, Dedan, Esau, who is Edom? Genesis 36 or 32. One of them says it. I'm not sure. I want to say 32. Alright, so that's what I got. God bless.